Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today, continuing with the tribal theme and playing some mono black vampires in Historic Best of 3. Before I get into the list, talk just a little bit about it. The usual YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe if you can. Thank you very much for doing that. And information about the deck list as well as timestamps are in the description as always. So the main reason to be playing vampires in Historic is 100% Sorin, Imperious Bloodlord, a 3 CMC planeswalker that has 3 very relevant abilities. The first one says, +1 target creature you control gains Death Touch and Lifelink until the end of turn, and if it is a vampire, it also gets a +1/+1 counter. Lots of vampires in our deck to take full advantage of that ability. Next, the second ability is also a +1 ability, and it says you may sacrifice a vampire. When you do, Sorin deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life. Well, 3 damage to any target means you can use it as creature removal, you can use it against a planeswalker, you can even go face with it for a little bit of reach near the end of a game. And its last ability is a -3 ability that works especially well with the 4 copies of Champion of Dusk in the deck. It says you may put a vampire creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Well, Champion of Dusk is a 4/4 for 5 that says when Champion of Dusk enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control. Let's say you've curved out perfectly. Turn 1, a vampire. Turn 2, vampire. Turn 3, you put out Sorin and you have a Champion of Dusk in hand. You -3. Suddenly you're drawing 3 cards. You have a sweet board. You have a planeswalker. Things are looking very good in that situation. We have a lot of other creatures in the deck, of course. We're playing 4 Knight of the Ebon Legion, a very good powerhouse at 1 CMC. If you can pump mana into it with its 2 and a black ability, things are going to get out of control real quickly. Next, 4 Gifted Aetherborn, a 2 CMC 2/3, but it comes with Death Touch and Lifelink. Very annoying for many decks to deal with because of that Death Touch. And then 4 1/1 for 2 Dusk Legion Zealot. Very simple creature, but when it enters the battlefield, it draws you a card. You also lose a life, not a big deal. This is a very good creature to be sacrificing to Sorin's second ability to deal 3 damage to another target. To round out the creatures in the deck, we have some more utility-based creatures, playing 2 Callous Blood Mage, a 2/1 for 3 that has 3 different choices when it enters the battlefield. You can create a 1/1 pest, you could draw a card and lose a life, or you can exile target player's graveyard. These days, lots of graveyard things are still happening, so having a couple copies of this in the deck, I think, is probably a pretty good idea. Also playing 2 Veto Thorn of the Dust Roads, a 1/3 for 3. When you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. There is a lot of little life gain synergies built into this deck, and if you have a veto on the field, you can end up getting in for a few extra points of damage here and there. And then 2 Murderous Rider, not a vampire, but it is still a very powerful card. It comes with Swift End, instant speed, adventure card that says destroy target creature or planeswalker, you lose 2 life. Then it comes down as a 2/3 for 3 with lifelink, and if it dies, it gets shuffled back into your library. Put on the bottom of your library instead of going to your graveyard. Pretty sweet little card. Next, the last creature in the deck is kind of an experimental one that I'm trying out in my own personal deck here. It is the Twilight Prophet, a 2/4 for 4 flying, and it has Ascend, and it says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, meaning you've ascended, reveal a top card of your library, put it in your hand, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the converted mana cost of that card. Only playing 2 copies of it, just trying it out, seeing if it works with Veto, a little bit of extra card draw. It's also a flyer, it works pretty well with Sorin. Seeing how this card goes, I'm not entirely sure yet. And then a couple of spells to round out the deck: 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Fatal Push, and 2 Heartless Act. A little bit of hand disruption, a little bit of removal, just what you need in a mono black deck. Next, we are playing Snow-Covered Swamps, and that means we are playing 4 Faceless Havens and also 4 Castle Lockwains. These are great utility lands. Use them as you will. Do whatever you want with them. Next, over in the sideboard, we are playing even more removal: 1 extra copy of Fatal Push, 2 Doomblades, and 2 Legion's Ends. I'm sure you're going to find lots of targets for all of these cards when you're playing in Historic. And 2 Crippling Fears also to round out the extra removal that we're packing in the sideboard. It's a 4 CMC sorcery that says choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until the end of turn. This can act as a one-sided board wipe, and that is going to be very powerful in Historic. Next, we have a ton of Graveyard Hate as well: 3 Grafdigger's Cages, 3 Ley Lines of the Void, and 2 Go Blank. Grafdigger's Cage doubles as a way of stopping Collected Company, and Go Blank is a great way to attack your opponent's hand as well as their graveyard. So those are the cards in the Mono Black Vampires deck. I'm really hoping Twilight Prophet works out. Gonna jump into some games and find out. See you over there. Alright, time for some Mono Black Vampires in Historic Best of 3. Got high hopes for this one. Well, not if the opening hand looks like that, though. Still, Faceless Haven and Castle Lochlane are pretty good lands to have. Can Thoughtseize some of their early threats. Murderous Rider? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to throw it back. Okay. I guess the game really wants me to have this opening hand. So I guess I'm keeping it with one fewer threats in the Faceless Haven. That's great. Good for me. Alright. Cling to Dust, Hydroid Krasis. I think probably I'm going to get rid of the Krasis if they Lightning Helix my Zealot. That's fine. Not the biggest deal. This must be a Niv Mizzet deck, I'm assuming. Alright, so what's with these lands? Oh boy. It is a fairly land-heavy deck. Still, this is a little much. Not exactly how you want to start off game 1, match 1. Okay, Gigantha into the hand, that's fine. I guess I'm going out with Mr. Sorin. And gain a little bit of life back with the Zealot. Alright, so I kind of feel like the Lightning Helix is coming. So let's Thoughtseize. Probably end up getting the Gigantha in the end here. Okay, well, opponent leaves the... I thought they would have responded and thrown out the Lightning Helix. So now that that's the case, I think I probably will go with Lightning Helix and then hold up the Heartless Act for Gigantha. I like the idea of building up this Zealot. And once it gets up to a 4/4, it could actually be quite troublesome for the opponent to deal with. Okay, there's old Big Elk Elemental, as expected. And yep, those are a few more lands. Love drawing every single land that I can. The good news is I can hit, draw a card with the Castle Lochlane. I don't mind taking the damage hit because, well, gaining enough life with the Zealot now. I was looking up Expressive Iteration today in paper. Can you believe it's like a $6 or $7 card in paper? It blew my mind. Alright, let's draw not a land. Okay. Oh, sure. Those are equally bad draws. Imagine Cling to Dust, yeah, is coming. Definitely the case. They take my Thoughtseize, draw a card, and take 5. So, I can't quite kill them yet, unfortunately, but getting close. Sure wish I had that Faceless Haven from the first hand. The opponent desperately cycling away their Triomes. And they have a... Oh, Binding the Old Gods. Nice. Well, they gotta hit the Zealot. Yep. Well. Come on. Good draws. Yeah, that's a little unbelievable. You know what? I think I'm gonna draw. I don't think they could... I don't think these draws could actually be worse, right? Given the opponent all the time in the world to come back in this game. basically nothing but dead draws for the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 draws. Yeah, sure, Thoughtseize away. Go for it, bud. There's nothing here. Now, drawing a vampire that I can resolve could actually result in a win with Sorin's second ability. That is... Oh, man. Why did it have to be a big one? Alright. It resolves. Okay, well.
Your lifeblood is sweeter than wine.
Oh, they have the Cling to Dust. What am I doing? I forgot that they had that. And the Lightning Helix. Okay. Well, that's on me now. And they get to go up to 5. If they want to. They could also just draw a card here. Really missing that Faceless Haven. It would have changed so many things about this game. Alright. Well, like a Niv would be kind of cool here. Some big creature for the Murderous Rider. Not happening. Okay, land again. Now I'm getting a little bit worried about taking so much damage from these Castle Lock lanes that I can't exactly empty my hand. And now the opponent's just gonna... I don't know. This is depressing.
I won't hide from the world any longer.
At least I can Murderous Rider the Teferi, hopefully. Okay.
It's hardly my worst.
Lose a little bit more life. I probably am going to hit the Castle Lock lane, go to 10. But that's getting a little scary. And they definitely have access to Cling to Dust now. So they're effectively at 8. This one, this is one for the books. Yeah, this, unbelievably bad luck. Yeah. Well, I guess I have to exile their graveyard. Force them to Cling to Dust now. If they don't Cling to Dust, then things get very interesting. They might be thinking they're safe at 5 life. They have an extra turn. Oh. Wow, okay. So now, try Veto. This is pretty risky, but I like it. Do it for the vid.
What is one life to save many?
Lightning Helix. Too bad. And now Colossus is a problem. Unfortunately, Murderous Rider being a Night Zombie can't exactly... Wow. Those were some really good cards to be left in hand with. And Colossus now on the field, going to be chipping away at me. Gaining them life. That's a playable card, so that's good. Very playable.
Blood calls to your soul.
Currently have 3 pumps available? Or no? I guess I only have... How is it that they drew The Vanishing Verse. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm dying here. This can't be more action. They've drawn too well. Okay. Kind of want to gain some life.
I bestow a mighty curse.
For real? For real? After I draw all those lands and they draw Vanishing Verse times 3? Oh, baby. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yay. Wow, that is tilting. If they hit a lightning helix off the top, I might just quit Magic and uninstall the game. All right. That oh, what a first game. So what am I dealing? It's definitely a Niv Mizzet deck. They just didn't hit it. What am I bringing in against that? Well, I don't think Fatal Push is going to be particularly good in this matchup. Go Blank is probably going to be pretty nice. And kind of thinking about Doomblade. Don't have a whole lot of removal, but I think between the Murderous Rider and the Doomblades, that should be enough for like the Gigantha, a Niv Mizzet, a Krasis. I'm wondering if it's worth it to bring in the ley line. I probably not. Like, they might have one or two escape cards. Not good enough. The Callous Blood Mage did work fairly well there in that particular situation, but I'm not sure if I totally need it in the matchup, and I'm wondering if I want maybe a Fatal Push over one Blood Mage. Or is it a Heartless Act? Maybe I just keep in one Heartless Act, go down one Blood Mage. Okay, try that. I got to draw better than that. That was atrocious. Somehow, the Vampire deck pulled it off, but goodness gracious. Alright, so down to 2 lands. I'm going to try it. Hitting the 3rd land is going to be pretty crazy. If I can curve out Knight into Gifted into Sorin and put out a Champion of Dusk, that'll be a pretty good few turns. And the game is now teasing me. They've heard the complaints. We gave him too many lands last time. We're going to make sure to keep those lands under control for this game. Feels like a lightning helix, yeah. Yeah. Funny magic gods. They are a very, very humorous bunch of gods. By this time last game, I think I probably had 8 lands, right? I'm always so glad that I'm actually like recording these super high variance matchups. That's remarkable. I think I'm gonna put out the Aetherborn instead of holding up the Doom Blade. Yeah. Maybe I should have put out the Aetherborn last time. Off the top. And right on time is our 3rd land.
I am bound to nothing beyond my own obligations. I guess you'll do.
Vanishing Verse for the champion. No cards drawn. Well, that kind of worked out as poorly as it possibly could have, right? They hit 5 cards with their Niv Mizzet, and now it's a black card. I can't hit it. Right, maybe it wasn't worth it to bring the Doomblade. For some reason, I thought... I know what I was thinking, but... you know what? I'm just going to scoop this one up. There's no way. Wow. So considering Doomblade doesn't hit that, maybe it is worth it to have the Heartless Act in. I still think the Doomblade's going to be pretty good against Gigantha or Krasis. Funny game. Get to play first. Why can't I have balance in my life, right? Why is it so extreme one way or the other? Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. I can't even put out the Gifted Aetherborn next turn. I think I'm going to lead on the Knight. Thoughtseize. They usually don't have a turn 1 play. Now I'm wondering. Yeah, let's attack the hand. Okie doke. Well, that is pretty good. Let's get rid of the iteration. Well, they're gonna hit the Ebonite with the Vanishing Verse. I think that's a certainty. So let's draw that out. Patient opponent. Oi, Gifted Aetherborn. A better target, apparently, for the Vanishing Verse. Sure. Surprised that damage is getting in. Okay, go blank. As expected. Okay, really need another snow-covered swamp for our Faceless Haven to start being effective. They didn't put the Gigantha into hand, making me think obviously something's up. So I will play out this, pump it up a little bit. Hopefully they don't have a way of blowing up our Sorin, and then hopefully Faceless Haven can start getting in for some damage later. Yeah. Third Vanishing Verse. That is fun. That is fun. Pretty good card against a mono black deck. Yeah. Okay. Get in for 4. I don't think they have a way of dealing with that. Sure. And then next turn what I can do is I can attack with the Faceless Haven and then Doomblade. Oh. Okay. I thought they would have put out the Gigantha. They didn't have the 5th land. Did attack their lands earlier, so maybe that's the reasoning. Drown in the Lock. So, is the pathway for the Faceless Haven there now? I think I have to try it, right? There's no way they have like another Drown in the Lock. That would be absurd. Well, at least it wasn't a Drown in the Lock. I can tell you that. That's a lot of removal. That's 5 removal cards in their top 14. Basically a removal deck. I suppose. Well, get Sorin out. Doesn't do much on his own, but
It will be your end.
Champion of Dusk is pretty good here. I think I'm just going to hardcast it. Okay. Build it up to a 5/5.
Thirst for the
They don't have anything. They hit the land though, so come on, Gigantha. Cool. And a Champion of Dusk is really good there. So now I have a choice if I want to... I think I want to draw more cards. So I could put out the Dust Legion Zealot and then Champion of Dusk with the Sorin. Ooh, almost clicked the wrong button there.
I guess you
It's a lot of cards. Another Faceless Haven is fantastic. So the opponent's got a lot to do here. Yeah, hold the knight and take it. Wow. Even though those draws were pretty sketch, first game goes to Vampires. Next one. All right. Match number 2. Hoping for a better balance with my cards this time, not extremes one end or the other. It's probably too much to ask for when playing on Magic Arena. That's an okay balance there, I suppose. Now, if only this were if I could keep all 7. Okay, I guess this is probably the best I'm gonna do in this situation against probably company. Oh, you know what? I'm going to lead on Thoughtseize. It's Angels. Well, good to get rid of the Righteous Valkyrie while I can. Opponent doing what I didn't have the balls to do. They kept the 5-land hand. Then again, no, this time I didn't have the opportunity for that. That was last game. Here comes the Vitality Angel, which my deck lines up pretty well against. Well, I mean, this card lines up well against right now. And yeah, let's just see what the Zealot finds us. Sure. This card's interesting. This card I actually just put into the deck. Originally, I was playing Phyrexian Obliterator, but I didn't really like it with Faceless Havens in the deck. I found myself never being able to deploy it properly. So I went with the Twilight Prophet, because Twilight Prophet's kind of a cool card. What are the chances they hit a Collected Company here? The answer is probably, like, incredibly high, because that's the way this game is. I'm debating if I want to attack with the Knight of the Ebon Legion. I can pump it. It's a pretty good pump. Yeah. I'd like to get the Twilight Prophet down, but I think this is fine. Alright, so at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, which I don't currently, reveal the top card of your library and put it in your hand. Each opponent loses X life that way. So there is the City's Blessing, and that is a lot of cards to be drawing. Attack with the Death Touch Aetherborn. And I lost 4 life that time, getting the counter on the Knight of the Ebon Legion because of the Champion of Dusk. But here we go. Bing. That's pretty good. I love not running into any interaction. Isn't that's fantastic, right? Imagine that when you don't go up against Vanishing Verses in 3s. Alright, bringing in... So they're the Angel deck. They drew very poorly. I got to imagine they're going to have the typical Bishop of Wings, Soul Sister, not Soul Warden make of the deck. So I probably want to bring in the removal package. I kind of want Grafdigger's Cages too to shut down Collected Companies. Crippling Fear is not bad. The problem is they have so many creatures that are 4 toughness that I think it's probably not going to work out very well. I don't think I need the Callous Blood Mages in this matchup. They're just not going to be that effective. And I think I kind of got lucky with the Twilight Prophet this time. I'm really not sure how it's going to work out in future games. I'm kind of leaning towards taking that out. Kind of thinking maybe I don't need the Thoughtseize since I'm bringing in so much spot removal against them. So yeah, maybe we'll do something like this. Try it out. Okay, back to our extremes. So mulligan that away. And 1 land is better than no lands. Or 2 lands, rather. I don't know. Getting a little frustrating with how inconsistent our lands are. That being said, going with Knight into Aetherborn into Sorin now is going to be a pretty nice little curve. Here come the lands, though. Probably should have attacked before putting out the Aetherborn, bluff some kind of removal, but I don't think they play flash creatures, so it's okay. Unfortunately, Sorin's +1 doesn't really do very well against this particular deck. I don't think... again, 3 damage is not really a great spot.
Depart Innistrad immediately, or you will take yourself.
That being said, I can still kill that. I'll be perfectly honest. I thought I was putting a +1/+1 on the Knight of the Ebon Legion there. So, you know how it is. Okay, got to imagine a collected company is coming. Now I feel silly. But I'm going to take advantage of the veto or the Sorin while I can. Put out the Champion of Dusk. Draw a couple cards. Not bad. I'm still going to attack with the Gifted Aetherborn. Sure, if they want to throw a creature in front of it, I'm very fine with that. Either way, I'm going to get a little damage in with Veto. Probably going to lose the Sorin this time through, but... oh, those are bad hits for the opponent. Still, they get to kill my Sorin. That being said, with Veto on the board now, I'm going to have enough mana to activate its ability, and I remember that I can actually do that this time. Could be kind of neat. Then again, they're gaining so much life with this Bishop of Wings. Definitely going to have to probably kill it with the Heartless Act. The only other card is the Anthem Angel that I would prioritize over the Bishop right now. Dramoka. Darn. Darn. Good card for the opponent. Okay, Grafdigger's Cage coming in a little bit late, but still there. I think I gotta kill it while I can. Pretty good attack there, Aetherborn. So the board looks good. No more collected companies for the opponent. So maybe... well, glad I got rid of the Bishop there, because things could have gotten real bad. Guess I'm just slamming face. Now, maybe I should have drawn earlier, now that I hit the Sorin. But I think it's okay to hold it, draw a card with the Castle Locklane, and then maybe Sorin can come out as a finisher next turn, depending on how aggressive the opponent gets. And the answer is very. Although they can... no, they're 1 mana short for the Resplendent Angel activation. And are they just giving up? Yep, that's par for the course right there. Probably should have waited on the Sorin. I should have attacked first and then put it out. Well, I didn't put them on Settle the Wreckage. I've talked about Settle the Wreckage before, as one of those cards that always gets you, because even though it's such a strong card, I feel like I never expect it. And now I have egg on my face again. And okie doke. Well, this game. Wow, well done, Grand Bidet. I don't even think they should attack Sorin. What's the point of killing Sorin? They were gonna gain 12 life there. They should have just dunked me in the face. They're making another 5/5. Yeah. Well. Be aware of Settle the Wreckage. I suppose that's the lesson to take away from that game. And I think it's fine the way it is. Ugh. At least it's turning into a video that we can learn a little bit from. Settle the Wreckage. Mm-hmm. Alright. Hoping to draw a little well next couple of turns. A few aggressive creatures. No. Okay. Youthful Valkyrie, pretty good. I think I'm okay putting out Sorin now.
Defeating you will not bring pleasure, nor pain.
I think that's why I misclicked I chose the wrong ability. I'm so used to going with the middle one. Bad news.
You cannot hurt my hollows.
Well, that's better news. So let's get rid of the Youthful Valkyrie. They don't have any Youthful Valkyries in hand, but they have a very good hand. Thankfully shutting off the Collected Company. And I can Doomblade the Righteous Valkyrie. Gotta imagine Shalai is coming down next turn. Yeah. So I'll kill the Valkyrie before. Maybe I should just kill the Shalai. I'm not sure. You know what? I think I'm gonna attack with the Faceless Haven. Gain a little bit of life. It's a pretty good attacker here. Okay. So one more land and activating the Resplendent Angel ability is going to be... Oh boy. But just got to accept that. I think I want to put the +1/+1 on this one so I have 2 5/4s.
This is but a taste of my power.
Gonna lose Sorin here, but there's nothing I can do about that. At least I'm applying pressure. I have a backup Sorin if I need it. And hopefully these Faceless Havens will be able to, yeah. That card basically just loses the game for me. It's just way too much. I need another Doomblade, but with Shalai on the board.
This wasn't my fight anyway.
Well, Murderous Rider. That is what the doctor ordered. Yeah, do it now, I suppose. Still at a pretty healthy life total, and the Angels are a little bit weaker. If they have the land here to pump up the Resplendent Angel, then ouch. They don't. Is there any reason to put in Sorin right now? Probably not. I could just to go at them with the Faceless Haven. Do a little bit of race, put out the Knight of the Ebon Legion. Alright. If they want to trade with the Angel, I'm okay with that. Maybe I gotta get rid of it. No. Okay. Well, the Knight grows, so that's nice. But they have the Declaration Stone for the Knight. Dromoka's Command for the Knight. This having Vigilance is going to be real bad. And there's a land, so now it's just game over. Well, yeah. Things did not work out, and I really blundered up a few things here. But a pretty good learning experience, I think, for this deck. Alright. Good Anya, Grand Bidet. Forgot to give them the hearts. Next one. Alright, match number 3. Try to do better than the last one. It was cool seeing the Angels deck playing things like Dromoka's Command. I think card is super good in that deck. Guess I'll keep it. Sorin on 3 into Dusk is pretty good most of the time. Opponent down to 6. And we can Thoughtseize, then Sorin, so that's cool. Oh, I see what's going on here. Well, I gotta take the Inquisition. Gotta protect old Bloodlord here. I think I'm gonna get the Rogue Refiner. And then Faceless Haven into Bloodlord into Dusk, and oh, follow up Dusk. That's pretty cool. Can't cast it for a couple of turns, but it's okay. Would like to find another snow-covered swamp. Okay. I'm really wondering if this card is too cute or not. It really was a last-minute addition, but I really like its 4 toughness. It flies. If you can get the Ascend off, it's pretty cool. I do find with the Vampire deck, the games do go a little bit long. Hey, that's good. And you do end up getting a ton of lands onto the field, as shown already. Okay. Put out the Twilight Prophet as a blocker. Better blocker than the Faceless Haven, considering they have the Abrade. I'm really glad I ran into this energy deck, because I think this weekend there was a tournament, and a lot of people were playing this energy deck. If the opponent wants to trade 2 for 1, Abrade my Twilight Prophet, I'm so okay with that. Yeah. Not a problem whatsoever. Okay, get in for 6, gain 6. Still, against this deck, they're at 4 energy. They could get to a point where they find the Aetherworks Marvel and Ulamagas and things just flip real fast. But still, I think they're at least 2 turns out, so that felt okay. So what do I want to bring in against energy? Aetherworks Marvel energy. Well, I really wish I knew what Aetherworks Marvel said exactly does. Grafdigger's Cage, stop it. Okay, so Grafdigger's Cage does work quite well in this matchup, I believe. Bring that in. Fatal Push, probably pretty good in this matchup to slow them down, hit some of their mana dorks. Definitely keeping in Thoughtseize. Heartless Act, kind of looking at taking that out. Next one I'm wondering about is the Go Blank, but maybe not. Okay, yeah, maybe Heartless Axe can come out. Crippling Fear might be an alright one to bring in because they do go quite wide with Thopters from time to time. But maybe it's okay without it. They gotta dump a ton of energy into Virtuoso, Whirler Virtuoso, I think is what it's called. So I'm not too worried. Hey, you know what? This is a real-ish looking hand. If we hit a Sorin, things get real fun. Well, all my complaining is maybe paying off. Still need to hit the 4th land. It'd be really cool to go Knight into Sorin into Twilight Prophet. So they got a little bit of energy with the Attune with Aether, fixed their mana ever so slightly, and they're on a better course than they were last time, that's for sure. Yeah, Sorin. I could kill the Glensleeve Siphoner, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they trade with it here. I'd be very surprised. Okay, Fatal Push. Pretty good card out of the sideboard for them. Okay. You got it. Well, now I'm thinking Dust Legion Zealot and killing the Siphoner now, though. The Rogue Refiner, things change. Okay, let's try to draw something relevant. Land. Well, it's a land. Okay.
Thank you for your service.
I don't really want them drawing more cards, but I also don't want this Rogue Refiner hitting me. I think I gotta hit the Glensleeve Siphoner. It can't kill the Sorin by itself this time. And next turn we can put out a blocker, so hopefully that's enough. Oh. Oh boy. Well, Scarab God is not going away. That's bad. Yeah, that's real bad. Let's put out the Twilight Prophet. Put a +1/+1 on it. And yeah, I love that it switched gears so effectively. Fatal Pushes in the side, Scarab God in the side. Really nice cards to bring in just when people are onto the energy plan and they can deal with it so easily. Bring in something that's going to be really hard to get rid of. I can't do really anything about the Scarab God, honestly. Okay. Sorin is murdered.
You have only one man.
Well, at least I'm at a pretty healthy life total. Lands away. Sure. And I think it's probably worth it to attack here. Put them on a little bit of a clock. They are probably going to get in for 9 here, though. And I'm not comfortable blocking the champion for the 4/4. And that Harness Lightning was very key. Haha, not going to find much around here. Get out of here. Yeah. Well, again, on theme. Attack. I guess I gotta try to block with the Faceless Haven on the 4/4 and try to stay alive. Although I think they would have been able to kill me if they didn't get rid of the Rogue Refiner there. That was my mistake. Yeah, Scarab God. What a card. I really can't believe more people don't play Scarab God. It is such a bonkers card. And just the fact that it returns to its owner's hand is One of those absurd things. Look at this. There's nothing to be done. But we'll go through the motions, see if we draw another land. Well, it's not, but it's not quite good enough. We die in the air. We get to go to a game 3. Well, now that Scarab God is apparently going to be a thing, do I sideboard cards in for the Scarab God? Grafdigger's Cage stops the Aetherworks Marvel, but it doesn't do much against Scarab God because it just creates a token. Unfortunately, nothing I have as far as removal goes gets rid of the Scarab God. I could bring in a Leyline of Void. That means if I do destroy old Bugface, then it goes away forever and it won't have many targets. But I don't like bringing in Leyline of the Void for a narrow thing. They might switch back to the Marvel plan. It's almost like a transformative deck in the case of the opponent. So I don't know what they're going to be on, if they're going to stick with this plan or if they're going to go back to the energy plan. Huh. Cool. I think I'm going to bring in Go Blank. It kind of does do both. I don't think Veto is going to be very effective overall in the matchup. And I think just try something like this. I didn't see... I know I saw that decks were playing Energy on this weekend in the Historic event, but I didn't see what their full game plan was if they were doing something like this with the Scarab God in the side. If they are, that's super sweet. I hope they are. Alright. Get the Zealot onto the field, draw a card, lose a life, and then next turn, Sorin. They get a Swamp, so chances are they have a Fatal Push, but Fatal Push would have been a lot better. Oh, Thoughtseize Bug.
You are fortunate, I bestow a mighty curse.
Maybe I should put out the Champion of Dust there. Yeah, that was probably... I was a little too eager to put a +1/+1 on the Zealot for some reason. I definitely should have minused and put a put up the Dusk. Champion of Dusk. But you know what? It kind of works. So I do this. Do that.
I have sired many wars.
Draw 3. No attack. If they create a Thopter, I can push it and then keep Sorin around. Although, it's not going to kill it, but still, I think I'd rather keep Sorin at a little bit of a higher life total. And I guess I'm definitely doing that now. They can have the Gifted Aetherborn. And then I gotta hope that what I have on the field is going to go the distance. Another Swamp goes out, turns on my Faceless Haven. Now I'm wondering if I just champion. They can make a Thopter. It's fine.
My bloodline flows through you.
Yeah, I'm going to put out the champion first. I was debating attacking and then putting out the champion, but I think this is okay. Wow. If they want to trade both cards for that champion, that's fine. They're not going to. I don't know if this deck plays board wipes. A little bit worried about that. They're also using their energy for... Ooh, Gonti. Okay. They're using their energy for... This ability makes me think they don't have an Aetherworks Marvel. Okay. So, I think I'm killing killing Gaunty. I am pushing the Virtuoso. I am attacking with both of these. I could attack with all of them. Yeah, we'll attack with all. Okay. Pump it up. Faceless Haven to the board. Let's be safe, put this Grafdigger's Cage out, just in case disaster happens. And I don't think I need to commit the other Knight of the Ebon Legion on the board. I have 2 Faceless Havens. They're at 4. If they wipe the board, it should be okay. Like this. Twilight Prophet. Not good enough. Maybe I should have just Sorin and Sorin again, but that's fine. Okay, take another win. Let's go to the last game of this little video. Alright, match 4. So far, things are going relatively well with the deck. It's a little bit sloppy play. I'm certainly not super well versed with this deck, but it's a strong deck, and I think you can kind of stumble your way through it most of the time. As usual, looking for the 3rd land. It's either looking for lands or begging not to hit lands in this deck. So the opponent mulligans a bit. Put out the Knight of the Ebon Legion. And, well, next turn, at worst, draw a card with the Zealot. Hopefully find a land. Okay. Funny looking land. Yipper. A tale as old as time, it seems. So is this rogues, possibly? If it is, Fatal Push, pretty good against them. Okay. Sure. Well, still attacking. I think they could flash in something here, but I should be able to hit it with the push. Shark Typhoon. Okay. So is this going to just be straight control? In that case, maybe I push before they can block the Zealot. And if I do hit... I like having an extra body on the field if I can get this Sorin out. So I think I don't really want to necessarily trade the Zealot for that. It's a bad exchange on cards for me, but we'll see. So this just could be Dimir control. At least we get a peek now. 12 cards deep, 2 lands. About right. Okay, well, I guess it's going to be Narset. And just got to be aware that the extinction event is there and eventually coming. It lines up pretty well against my handful of odd cards, though. Yeah, nice. Not really nice, no. God damn. Putting the Shark Typhoon in the bin is a little surprising. I feel like that would be a pretty bonkers card right now. Well, hooray. They can just commit it, though. Yep. So, Sorin, see ya in a few turns. And now that they have Azcanta flipped, I think there's probably not a whole lot of chance of winning. Still, at least we didn't get hit with a memory with a Narset on the board. I can be thankful for that. Yeah, you know what? Let's turn on the Faceless Haven and swing. Although they do have 2 mana open, so there's a good chance that this is going to get drowned in the locked. Yeah. I, again, got a little ahead of myself. I was doing actions before thinking, and the thinking after the action. Of course. And now with this Shark Typhoon on the board, I don't think there's really any reason to even continue playing. Yeah. Okie doke. Chalk this one up to the land issues, and yeah, what can you do? Okay, Go Blank can come in. I don't have a whole lot of sideboard options against this deck. These removal spells are not super effective. And then Grafdigger's Cage could come in to stop memory. But is there even a point of that? Is it worth it bringing in the Ley Line? It does shut off their Cling to Dust, which is gone. It does mess up their Azcanta as well. So you know what? Maybe it's not the worst card to bring in. I don't care for the Blood Mage as usual, and I think Twilight Prophet is never going to activate, so it's just a 2/4 for 4. Not good enough. Okay. This one feels like a little bit of a bad matchup. But maybe if somebody plays it tighter, they can do a little bit better. Oh, wait. Play first. Thoughtseizes are going to help. Probably one of the better cards in this matchup for me. I'm going to be begging for a 3rd land in 2 turns. Okay, opponent mulliganing against Thoughtseizes. That's pretty cool. Yeah, let's just get rid of their Thoughtseize. And then probably do it again, getting rid of their Azcanta. Although they can protect their Azcanta now with Brainstorm, which is kind of annoying. Still gonna try it. So they do indeed protect the Azcanta. Smart play. I guess we'll take the other Brainstorm. Yeah. Okay, and we're back to the 2 lands in the deck, I think, with 24 or 25 lands. I can't remember exactly. Yep, yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I could Thoughtseize to see what that last card is. Sure. Wow, they let me Cling to Dust. That's a little surprising. Certainly they can... No, that... Maybe they just want to flip the Azcanta. No, it's probably a good play by them. Yeah. So 2 Clings in the graveyard. They have a crawling Barrens. And that means that... being stuck on 2 lands again is not the way I wanted to end this video. Goodness gracious, deck. Cooperate. Oh, that's a divine joke, isn't it? They hit the Legion's End right when I put out my 2nd Aetherborn. Yeah. If there's no land on the top, I'm just gonna kindly shrink away and
give up on this one. Okie doke. Well, hearts to the opponent. Sometimes the game says, not today. Let's go to a bit of a wrap-up. Alright, so Mono Black Vampires feels pretty good in Historic. Ran into some of the highest variance games I think I've ever experienced on Magic Arena. Having 24 lands in the deck and constantly having land problems one way or the other is a little wild over almost all 4 of the games. During editing, it's going to be interesting to see just how bad it actually was, but it felt really bad. Most of the cards in the deck are pretty solid. Twilight Prophet, I put it in kind of last minute. It performed well in one game. Overall, I think it's probably too weak to have in the deck. I've seen other decks obviously playing the Obliterator, and I also saw Shield Maiden playing Mayhem, not Mayhem Devil, but Spawn of Mayhem. It's not a vampire, but it is a pretty crazy 4 CMC 4/4 that I think probably is going to be better suited in this deck over the Twilight Prophet. Twilight Prophet didn't really impress enough to justify the spot, so I think she might be onto something with the Spawn of Mayhem. Otherwise, I think everything else is pretty solid in the deck. Lots of removal. It might be good to bring in some more cards that are a little bit more anti-control, so maybe some Duresses or Inquisitions into the sideboard, taking out a few of the removal cards. We maybe are a little bit too heavy on creature removal. But overall, I think it is a pretty fun deck and probably a pretty good one to grind to Mythic with if you want to stick it out and learn some of the intricacies of the deck. Of course, lots of tricks to be done with Sorin. Sorin is the reason to be playing this deck. This card is just bonkers in all ways. So take a look at it if you're interested in Tribal and if you like vampires. I think it's a pretty good one. Anyways, see you in the next one. Take care and bye-bye.